It is draft day.
Draft day.
This used to be our favorite day.
I have no idea what's going on. None.
Oh.
I know the Islanders have first pick. I know Schaefer is the first overall. That's pretty much it for me. That's my base knowledge.
Yep.
Do have some bets I can share with you.
I also have a bet
Okay.
that I want to go look through when we get to the betting segment.
Okay. Sounds good. We can do it right now.
No.
That's what we did.
Did you?
Throw it right at the front.
Nothing else to talk about today.
Damn it.
Let's kick it off with a delicious debate for our friends at Odd Company Brewing, proud partner on Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Perfect to watch the draft. Your next big game, next go-to lager, because it's the last Friday of the week. Head on into either Odd Company location here in the city or at liquorconnect.com. Find a liquor store near you that serves it. If they don't, ask them to bring it in. Ask why they make poor choices if they don't stock Nation Beer. That's the message. Tyler, turning it over to you. Delicious debate duty is yours today.
It's the news of the day. We should start here, then go from there. Now that it's official, and now that we know he has a full no movement clause for the first 4 years, what do you make of Trent Frederic's 8-year extension? Good or bad value?
I'll go last.
Well, value-wise, I think we can't truly wrap our heads around it because I don't know what the numbers are going to be for the total salary cap. The only thing that I'm kind of just questioning on is the 8 years. And I think that that's what most people are hinged on.
Yeah. So like Evolving Hockey or Evolving Wild, whatever the site is, they have a calculator for like how much a player's worth based on their analytics, and you can punch in the years. And on a 4-year deal, they had Frederic at, I believe, 4.5 or 4.8 million. So there maybe is some logic to like the Frederic's agent and his camp knew that he had value on the open market for a 4 or 5 year deal and thought that he would get $23 million guaranteed on a 4 or 5 year deal. Or on a 5-year deal, I should say at that point. And the Oilers maybe did truly get $1 million, $800,000 off the AAV by going 8 years. But then it opens up the whole other debate of like, was it worth risking an 8-year deal on a guy?
Well, and I think that's my issue is why does Trent Frederic think that he's only worth $3.8 million for the next 8 years consecutively?
Yeah.
So to give the full breakdown, this courtesy of the fourth period's David Pagnotta.
Is that too negative, Liam?
8-year deal.
No.
3.85 AAV. Full no move clause in the first 4 years, a 10-team trade list in 5 and 6, and a 20-team trade list in 7 and 8.
It's an interesting little flip-flop there.
Salary and bonus throughout. 1.5 million salary bonus for the first 6 years. Then it's $1 million. That obviously impacts things like buyouts and all that stuff. Like obviously, thinking about that on the first day of the contract, probably not ideal. But it is a factor. Think about.
Let's say, okay, we'll do it. Let's say after year 3, they want to buy him out. How bad is it?
Oh my God.
Here's Tyler.
Oh, it's real bad. It's real bad. It basically it goes down by like $1 million. Okay.
So bulletproof.
Buyout proof. Well, when you have a chance to sign Trent Frederic for 8 years and give him a no movement clause and give him $3.8 million, you also want to load it with bonuses so it's buyout proof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what if it works?
What if it works? So like, that's my, so I saw the evolving whatever, the contract projection as well. That the other thing that I was notable in there with those contract guessing, whatever, is that not this past season. Wipe that one out. Down year. The last 2 years, he was playing at a value that they estimated at $4.5 million.
Okay.
So I guess the gamble is that this was a one-off year, a down year for Frederic, that he can return to form once his ankle injury recovers. Now, of course, the tricky part with the high ankle is it can last a long time.
Yeah.
Good news is you got the whole summer. Sit in the hot tub, relax, elevate, ice, rest. I don't remember what else was in that RICE acronym.
Yeah, something like that.
Compression?
Yeah, maybe.
Comfortable.
Be comfortable.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Nice pair of pants.
Here's a positive for you all. Zach Hyman's career high before he signed an 8-year deal for the Oilers was 41 points.
He eventually scored more than 41 goals in a year.
Yes. He's obviously a better player than Trent Frederic is. And when he came into the team, he was probably a little bit better as well. But also, too, a guy who was injury prone.
people hated that contract when it got signed.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it, telling you that Trent Frederic, Zach Hyman, because I don't think that'll be the case.
You heard it here first, folks. Liam is saying 50-goal season coming up in 2 years.
But
3 years.
But that worked out incredibly well for the Oilers. And I don't think, like, we're acting like Trent Frederic is Matthias Janmark. Like, we know this guy has a higher ceiling
early in the podcast.
God damn it, Liam.
than what he's shown. He had we got the worst of him in the playoffs because he was hurt. And there just seems to be that lack of understanding. Like, I get it. The 8 years is worrying. But what I'll tell you is you just need him to be good for 5. You just need 5 of those 8 years to be solid. And the last 3 is like, whatever. Like, if you come out of this in that 4-year no movement clause and you win a Stanley Cup and you have Trent Frederic signed to 3.85 and he's just playing on your third line, contributing regularly, I know this is best case scenario. You will not care.
We also had David Pagnotta on Oilers Nation Every Day yesterday, and he said he thinks Andrew Mangiapane is getting $4 to $5 million a year. Also, I believe Connor Garland is signing a 6x6 extension in Vancouver. We might just need to rewire our brains a little bit here. Like, and I said this earlier, like, talk to me on July 2 and I'll have maybe a different view of this Frederic deal.
Okay, who's the other name you said? I want to just compare some stats here. So Andrew Mangiapane, and then who's the other one?
Connor Garland, famously known as public enemy number 1 in Edmonton.
Of course. The wee lad.
Oh yeah, the McDavid thing.
You remember that?
Yeah. He's the wee lad.
Yeah, he's just
the angry Smurf.
Scored 22 goals once, which was basically his second. Well,
all right, so I want to look at Andrew Mangiapane first. I think most people are probably just going to remember the 35-goal season from Calgary. But since that season, that was in 2021-22, that was the year that, the Oilers destroyed the Flames.
And the Flames were a great team. Everybody had career highs that season on the Flames.
He then went down, dropped by half to 17 goals, then 14-14 the last 2 years. And what do you say he's targeted to get?
4 to 5.
Connor Garland, 6x6. Like Liam said, his career high in goals was not with the Vancouver Canucks, but with the Arizona Coyotes back in 2019-2020. Last year with the Canucks, he played 81 games, 19 goals, 31 assists for 50 points. And that's a 6x6.
So like, again, if Frederic can get you 15 goals, play third line center, / a little bit of wing and be a versatile piece. And like to what you said earlier, Liam, kill penalties. If he gets you 40 points, he's outperforming that contract.
If he's like 35 to 40 points, he's getting your value.
Again, like Wipeout last year, it was a down year. Everybody knows it. He played 58 games. He had 15 points, 8 goals, 7 assists. The 2 years before that, though, in 79 games in 2022-23, Frederic had 17 goals and 31 points. 2023-24, he had 18 goals and 40 points. Is that the guy we're getting?
Let's hope so.
Time will tell, friends.
I always try and measure it as, so he's 3.85. If you can give me 38 points, like $100,000 is a point to me. You know what I mean?
That's the rough.
For the most part.
You've heard that. Yeah.
So if he's giving you, like Ty said, like consistently around 40 points over or under, whatever it is, and like, you can't be that disappointed in a guy that's probably playing about 13 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm.
I just obviously this has to work for this to be true. What I'm about to say, but I don't mind that they took the gamble on the same guy who they know what he kind of is about. And like every single year being like, oh, what about this one? What about that one? What about this one? Because they always do that anyway. And it rarely works for them. I'd rather just have the one guy.
To round out the delicious debate, I think like we've known this number and term for a while now. It ranged by a couple $100,000, whatever. The thing that I don't understand is the willingness to give no move clauses. Was that really a sticking point in the negotiation that you had to have a full no move, then a 10 team, then a 20 team? I don't know. I mean, ideally you don't even have to think about it. And he just comes and performs and he plays well. And you're like, meh, moot point.
Counterpoint as well. If the contract is so bad in the first 4 years that you need to get out of it, it's probably a no move contract anyways. Like it can't be moved anyways, right?
Yep.
That's kind of what I was thinking is like.
Not a justification for it, but just a sad fact.
I wish it wasn't like that too. Like when I first saw it, I thought he just had like a 20 team no, and then it gradually fell whatever way it was. And it worked out in the other's favor. But like, if you're signing a guy to an 8-year, you probably don't want to move him into first 4 years anyway, because obviously you're thinking best case scenario. So like, if that was the way that the others could justify it, I guess, and be like, well, why would we move him? We want him anyway. Then let's just give it to him and it just gets him across the line, and it saved them $4 million instead of 3.85. Like, I guess you would do it. I also don't like it, for the record, but
The other angle, and nobody talks about it, is GM sign these contracts knowing they're not going to be around for the end of it anyway.
yeah, I thought that too. It's like, who cares? Stan Bowman doesn't care.
No.
Like, hopefully he's got a Stanley Cup and he's.
I will say, like, knowing it's the end of it, but my counter to that would be like, it also could be if in year 4 it's not going well for Bowman and the Frederic deal sucks, it could be one of those where you point to and be like, that is a major knock against you, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, he signs that deal knowing he's probably not going to reach the end of it anyway.
Either it works and it's great, or if it doesn't work, he's getting fired for probably other reasons too. So like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I see. I follow it.
Anyway, I'd like to hear from you. If we haven't heard from you on socials already.
People have opinions on this?
I don't think so. Very reasoned and reasonable reactions, as always, on Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
That's the place where you go for reasonable takes.
I'm just glad we had something else to talk about other than goalies.
Wow. I mean, a franchise that has sold us in recent years, Milan Lucic and Evander Kane, bag of goods. I think I understand why people are just a little bit
But
jaded.
those guys had 20 goal seasons.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm not just like, I think fans, I understand why fans are guarded about this one.
I actually feel like that's unfair to Evander Kane. He was so much better than his time as an Oiler than Milan Lucic.
Fair enough.
We never had to do a goal draft.
That's that. Yeah,
It did come close though. That at the end of his last regular season.
It did.
That is true. I forget.
We never had to do a goal draft.
Lucic was
Back up, I don't know, 6 years in the podcast to find the goal draft.
Here's another delicious debate, and it could maybe tie into another thing. Rank your least favorite off-season rumor starters. We got the ever popular Instagram bio change. We got unfollowing teams on Instagram. We have airport updates. I saw this person at the airport. They were at a gate going here. And I just saw this one from Florida in Ekblad. Real estate. Oh. You know, I heard Mitch Marner's dad was in Vegas looking at real estate. I got that one last week too.
Interesting.
Think about that, boys.
I believe the Marner rumor.
I have a question. Does flight tracking is that included in?
No, that's a good one though. That's a good one to put
Who's
to the
the
list.
Shohei of 2025?
It's not a very common NHL thing, but
You guys think about that one while I tell you about Oodle Noodle. This long weekend is buy one, get one free, Tyler. All long weekend long. So today it's Friday. This starts tomorrow, okay? That's Saturday. Buy one, get one at 50% off on all signature boxes with chicken, beef, or tofu. Active only during the long weekend. So that's from the 28th to the 30th. Offer valid in-store or via oodlenoodle.ca or through the Oodle Noodle app. It's not valid with any other promotion. Go get yourself something to eat. And then we're wrapping up June here. Go get a Kung Pao. 10% of the proceeds from the Kung Pao will be donated to Sports Central. They're going to refurbish some more sporting equipment and get more kids out there playing sports.
Almost $4,000 raised in the first quarter.
Damn.
Great.
10 out of 10.
Go on out and get yourself something to eat. Know that you're doing it for a good cause. All right. Back to the delicious debate number 2.
What were the options again?
Which is your most favorite or least favorite? I don't remember how you phrased
Least.
it.
He said least.
Rank them. Yeah, I don't know. What's your
Rank
least
ballot.
favorite of them? The Instagram bio thing with Nurse last night was so dumb.
That's the worst one to me is, first of all, who has the time to watch this?
Yeah.
2, if you're going to watch this and pretend like it's news, you better not way back machine like Tyler did and find, it hasn't changed in 5 years.
And then that
6 years.
That OG guy is like some account name with like Broder in it. He just deleted the tweet. He started this whole storm and it was like, whoops, and just walked out of the room.
Then there was another guy I saw last night, 500 followers.
Yeah.
He's like going around as an inside. Like I've seen this guy before, but I'm like, what are we doing? There was another couple of people I'm hearing it could be happening by this weekend. Like, And then today on 32 Thoughts, Elliot Friedman just said, nah.
to be fair though, Pat's buddy, 40 minutes before the Habs made that trade, did text Pat and told him that it's happening. And Pat's like, he's unattached. He has no idea. So I think random people are also insiders.
Pat's friend?
Yeah.
Pat, who's your friend?
Yeah, Pat's got friends.
Yeah, the Instagram rumor one is very funny. 'Cause I just always think too, is that, if anything was to happen to me here, the first thing I wouldn't do is like go to my Instagram and be like, delete. It's something you would stumble across.
I would.
Is that
Or I just start adding more shit into my bio.
No, BM would flip his account and sell it to someone who would change it exclusively to feet pics.
Don't talk about my off-season plans.
Didn't Evander tweet before the teams released?
Broke his own deal.
Yeah.
That's how ballers
that's
do it.
different.
We'll get to that one next.
Significantly different.
We'll get to that one next because I also think that's the funniest way to break news. But
Answer the debate though. To me, you're going a step further when you're checking to see who's following who and who's unfollowing.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Like the bio thing. Like I remember going to Nurse's profile and being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it did say Edmonton Oilers at one point. Like just that's you can make that believable. The idea of
what is that called though? Isn't that the Mandela effect when you think something and then
it's like
the Bernstein Bears.
It's the bandwagon effect. But yeah, it's a different level to go through somebody's following list and be like, did you see so and so unfollowed them? Unreal. I remember during the playoffs, someone was like, Connor McDavid unfollowed Stuart Skinner. And it's like, yeah, you think Connor McDavid watched the Oilers lose a game in the playoffs and was like, this motherfucker. Blink. See you later. See you never, Stu.
So that would be, if we're ranking now, like the bio one, then the following one, that would be probably my two worst. Yeah. What were the other ones? The random insider?
The no-name insider is so annoying because these guys, like you mentioned the guy with 500 followers. I don't follow these people, but there's so many accounts out there who throw out a bunch of shit, then delete it all in 2 days.
Oh yeah.
And then when they hit on one of the random shits, they leave it and they're like, we had it.
They pin that tweet.
And because no one follows them, no one's fact checking them.
Yep.
That one's super annoying.
But as Trina's Oil says, expect the unexpected.
Oh, the airport one to me is like, I don't know. It's just kind of normal.
Perfect example is the airport one is just kind of like an extension of it is all the Leafs fans this past week being like, I saw Connor McDavid in Toronto. It's like, oh, really? Did ya?
Yeah.
He never goes there.
The hub airport in Canada, you say.
I also was in Toronto this week. How come I got maybe they're trading him to Leafs Nation.
What's your bio?
Oh, I took it out. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I changed it. Don't way back machine my bio.
Don't way back.
BM, I'm going to tweet this right now. Bag Milk has taken Oilers Nation out of his bio. I don't think it's ever been in there.
Yeah, I think it is. Maybe.
Your
Instagram
Bag Milk? Yeah, your Instagram bio doesn't have Oilers Nation in it. Oh, should I tweet that? Should I get people
Let's
going?
Go. Do it. Just see we'll see what happens.
Start the rumor.
Yeah, see what happens. If you listen to the podcast, be in on the joke, and when you hear this, go, oh my God, I can't believe it's in there.
Can I start a rumor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we need an ad for it or should I just start it?
No, you can go for it. We're in the Noodle ad.
Do we need an ad for it? Sponsored rumor.
Depends on how vicious it's
Should we sponsor this rumor?
This is a real rumor that I'm reading online as we speak.
Go ahead.
Hold on, I got an ad. God damn it. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Noodle. Buy one, get one. Long weekend. Go ahead.
If the Edmonton Oilers can clear more cap space, I wouldn't be shocked if they entered the Brock Nelson race on July 1st.
Brock Besser.
What did I say?
Brock Nelson.
Well, I said I was starting a rumor. There's also rumors Brock Besser might be available on July 1st from David Pagnotta. I can't believe I just said Brock Nelson.
Brock
Besser.
You had the Islanders on your mind.
How funny would it be if Vancouver paid us to take Evander Kane off our hands so we could sign Brock Besser from them? Amazing.
Let's get into the Evander Kane trade because that happened obviously earlier in the week. Stan Bowman moved Evander Kane to the Vancouver Canucks for a 4th round pick, which was the exact same pick they flipped to them for Vasily Podkolzin. No retained salary. Oilers clear the 5.125 off the books. Evander Kane in the final year of his 4-year deal. What was everybody's thoughts? Number one, the funniest thing to me was that Evander Kane broke the trade because of course he did.
There's very few players in the NHL that would do that. And
yes.
He leads the way of guys who would do it.
Also with the AI statement, hilarious.
Not AI. If you check it on ChatGPT, it says it was not written by AI.
Well,
I've heard mixed reports on all of this.
I've also seen mixed reports on that one, but okay. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a heartfelt statement.
I think necessary move, of course. The Oilers needed that cap space. The fact they got a pick back in the draft, I think, is good as well. Like we always talk about, there's not a lot in the cupboards. It's like, well, get something back so you can get something in the cupboards and see what you can get from it. The Oilers have drafted fairly well last couple of seasons, I would say. Players who have half a chance to get to the league one day, I would think. So I think that was a positive. You obviously cleared the cap space. It didn't end well because I think he was just... The cup final sucked because he obviously took the penalties, but it just felt like every time he did something, he was getting called on a penalty, which I think like would just like reputation calls, some of them as well. Like he made dub ones, don't get me wrong, but like got the 4-in-1, the Marchand, when you're looking at me like, really? Like that's what you're calling in the cup final? Anyways, nevertheless, I don't think he was able to give us everything in the cup final because of stuff like that. Overall, Kane was a good Oiler. He gave us a lot of great moments.
Yep.
He showed up, especially in the playoffs the last few years. And what did he finish with? Like 61 goals over 3-4 seasons, whatever, 3 regular seasons, I guess. Hard to be that upset with what you got out of Evander Kane. Yeah. And you got somewhat of a value pick back in a way.
Like I remember that. Like I think back to the series against Calgary. He fucking murdered the Flames in the second round.
I forgot about it, but like 6-minute hat trick.
Yeah, 6-minute hat trick.
Incredible.
Well, to be fair, we're not yet done with him just because that investigation is still ongoing.
But even that,
since Dan brings it
not
up,
his fault. That is the league. That is the league being dumbass.
Yes, I agreed. But
since Dan brought it up, Bill Daley this week at was it a Board of Governors meeting? What was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He said they are still pending. No timeline on whether it's going to be pending or a full-on investigation or it just goes away.
So I was listening to Bob's show about this too, and he gave like a little bit more insight than I even knew about it. So for people who don't know, the league is investigating the second surgery he had, which was a knee surgery. But what Bob said on his show is that they found a tumor. So if that's the case, that's not something you just like, oh, well, he's supposed to rehab for 2 more weeks. We can't take that out. Like that just seems like a thing that the NHL surely can't look at and be like, well, could that have waited?
Yeah, I saw that on Reddit today.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
if that's the that's the
like
case.
Bob said on the radio, so I wouldn't say if he didn't, but like that is what the speculation is.
Yep.
Which is insane that the league would investigate.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so for me, like Evander, I shouldn't say everything on the ice because his injury, the Patrick Maroon injury, I think just derailed his on ice performance from there on in. But he gave you what you wanted on the ice. Off the ice, I think that was just the question mark coming into this team, and I really just think that the organization as a whole just wasn't able to kind of stem some of that stuff and stem some of the noise that came from around having an Evander Kane. It wasn't nearly as bad as what happened in San Jose. And I think that Oiler fans are kind of removed from that. And so we forget that. But yeah, I would just say like off the ice wasn't great.
The only thing I would add though is to his credit, did a lot of stuff in the community.
Yep. Yeah, lots. That has been a big thing that's come out. There was, I always forget her name. Sorry, the
Cecily Rose.
Cecily. He did a lot of things with like going to like indigenous.
Yeah, he went out to Wetaskiwin or Maskwacis.
Yeah, so that was good to see. Like a lot of players when they're out for the season, you don't really see much from them. I feel like we saw him enough. You know what I mean? Like it was like, oh, he's doing whatever this is today, and that's a good thing. I do think they'll miss him in a way, but it makes sense why he's gone. I'm not upset about it.
My favorite part, though, is I don't know if you had a chance to check the reaction from the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Canucks fans were thrilled about it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do something? You want to entertain yourself? See little Canucks fans' misery? Pop on over to Reddit and the Vancouver Canucks subreddit.
Oh boy.
Just read some comments. I read a bunch of them on Better Late Than Never on Wednesday. I had a good time reading those comments because Liam and Tyler, as I'm sure you remember when we went to Vancouver for the playoffs, the fan base was not exactly shy about yelling out all kinds of shit.
Oh no.
About Evander Kane.
Totally forgot about that. Awesome.
I'll never forget the one guy who was in the crowd like an hour after the game. We're waiting for the crowd to go away so we don't get harassed on the way out the building. And then one guy sitting with his daughter was like, "You guys are bitches." I'm like, "Your daughter's like 9, bro. Why are you yelling at us?" Crazy.
Yeah, that fan base deserves pure misery forever. They will have it this season because their team sucks.
I was say they're not making the playoffs.
The other thing that I very much enjoy was the presser from Patrick Alvin, where they said they want to see how Evander Kane does. It's a contract year. They want to see if he checks notes. 34-year-old Evander Kane is a long-term fit in Vancouver. And I say, damn it, he is.
Trent Frederic deal, anybody?
I say yes.
There's breaking news if we're done with the Kane stuff.
Please.
Which is really pissing me off, and it feels like it's somewhat relevant to this. So Charlie Coyle is being traded to Columbus. Now, by my calculations, there is no cap retention, and his cap is $5.25 million, and this is the end of it. He's a 33-year-old right shot centerman. They're also trading Miles Wood in the deal, who has a deal until 2029 at $2.5 million. So somehow the Colorado Avalanche just freed up all this money, almost close to $8 million, if not $8 million, for a second round pick.
They got stuff.
They got a second round pick, a third this year, and Gavin Bridley, who's either a late first, early second. I don't remember. That is wild. Columbus have $40 million in cap space, so they need to get to the floor. But the Charlie Coyle one, obviously, is still a decent player.
17 goals, yeah.
The fact they took on Miles Wood as well, as we ironically talk about Trent Frederic having an 8-year deal. Miles Wood is a similar guy in that perspective, but like 29 years old, $2.5 million, was a fourth line player from last season.
But they got out of it because he didn't have a no movement clause.
He is 6-team no trade list.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Columbus wasn't on it?
Columbus wasn't on it.
Damn. This maybe does, though, to tie it into the Oilers. Maybe this does bode well for getting a third round pick for Arvidsson.
Maybe.
We're going to talk about that in a second, but currently just to wrap up the trade with Evander Kane and now the extension for Trent Frederic. According to puckpedia.com, who will be a part of the free agency show on July 1st. The Oilers currently have $12.3 million in cap space. Now you have to assume the Victor Arvidsson trade is coming. I wonder if that happens before Tuesday.
I think it happens tomorrow.
Try to get something in the second round, or not second round, just on day 2.
I think they can get 2 picks for Arvidsson. I think they can probably get one that's like, say, a third, for example, and then like a 5th next year, or whichever way you want to flip it. And I think that's what they'll try and do. I think the Oilers really value picking in the draft, ironically enough, no matter where it is. And I think they're going to try and do it.
I would rather get, I mean, this is a whatever debate. I'd rather get 2026 picks for them, because then if you need to dip into them at the deadline, you have a few more bullets.
Yeah.
Like, you have 4 picks in this draft right now. Use these 4 picks. You've added something into your system. 2026, let's put a little more there.
Again, question. I have no idea. Is this draft a good draft?
No.
Next year's much better.
Yeah, this draft, like, there's good players, obviously, but it ends at like...
Where's the cliff?
Like, barely out of the lottery.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's to the fact of like multiple goalies could go in the first round.
That's abnormal.
The last time that happened, I think, was Kosa and Wallstead, when the Oilers famously took Xavier Bourgault, of course, instead of just Wallstead.
Yeah, they could have. Yep. Mm-hmm. How's Bourgault doing anyway? Have we checked on him recently?
Xavier, I'm assuming thriving. 22 years old, 12 goals last season in 61 games in the American League. -1, unfortunately.
A little -1. Hate that. The other big story that came out, this was courtesy of TSN's Ryan Rashog. The Oilers brass, Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson, flew to Ontario to start speaking to Judd Moldolvy, which is Connor McDavid's agent. He said, doesn't sound like they talked about money or term. They're just looking ahead. The thing I liked about that is Bowman and Jackson wasted no time.
Yes.
They're just out there. Jump on the PJ, away you go.
It also just shows that whole narrative was so fucking stupid. Like, if Connor McDavid wanted to leave, he wouldn't be like a week later, be like, yeah, guys, come on over. House is open.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's have some tea. They also, sounds like they spoke to Bouchard on that trip as well, or at least his agent.
Killing 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
I wonder when that one gets done.
I think before July 1st.
Obviously, we like to go live and do like emergency shows when things happen. I bet you we're doing an emergency show at some point this weekend. It's either, I think a Bouchard extension could get done.
I think so too. I think there'll be an offer sheet for Bouchard before he can file for arbitration, which I believe is the 5th. And I believe the Carolina Hurricanes will be the team that do it.
Yeah.
They have $1 billion. I think literally have like $26 million in cap space, have 13 forwards signed, 6 defensemen and 2 goalies, and they have all their first round picks. They can afford him. They wanted him when the Rantanen deal was kind of in conversation. I think the Oilers are obviously well aware of that, and this will be done before that. The other side of it too, and I think this will be the case, if they're close and this does trickle over July 1st, I don't think Bouchard would accept one if the gap isn't too big. Like say the Oilers are offering 10.5, for example, and Carolina offer him 11. Like, is that 500,000 going to be the difference breaker? Like, I just don't think that would be the case.
Tyler, do you have it handy, our guesses from last week?
Yep.
We gave our guesses last week.
I said 8 by 10.25. Dan said 8 by 9.75. Rick said 8 by 10. Liam said 8 by 9.8. BM said 8 by 10.5. As far as the days, I said July 8th. Dan was the 14th. Rick was June 29th, so Sunday. Liam was August 2nd, and BM was July 15th.
I changed my whole thing. I know I can't.
Too late.
I think it'll be 4 years, 10 million, and they'll do it by midnight, June 30th.
Yeah, Pierre LeBrun. That was his thought in his article at The Athletic, I think, day or so ago.
4-year deal scares
and Bob
me.
keeps saying it too.
Does he have the same agent as Connor?
He has Dave Gagne. Same
agency?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But they might have actually both had Jeff Jackson. And they might have just both gone to different, split it up.
That's also got to be a different wrinkle to the investigation when your former agent is sitting on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such an interesting part of it all because you would think that obviously they can't officially begin negotiations until July 1st, or you can't officially sign whatever, but
wink,
you're allowed to talk to the agent. So over the years, conversations would have obviously happened with Jackson. So I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic, but you just wonder how much of an advantage it is, I guess, for the Oilers or McDavid in the sense of his agent is literally the president of the hockey team.
Yeah.
I don't really know which side of the fence it would fall on.
Yep. The other angle is if you're a body language expert, shut up. That's it. Another couple of things. So we got the Victor Arvidsson trade that everybody's kind of expecting to happen soon. It seems like both sides agree, and that Victor Arvidsson is helping the team kind of work on it. Fine. Thing that came out this morning, looks like Connor Brown to test free agency.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a posturing thing. If you remember a while ago, when Evander Kane signed that 4-year contract, Ken Holland at the time was like, yep, go check.
Brett Kulak, same thing.
Brett Kulak too, yeah. And then they came on back.
And I actually really like that approach by the Oilers. I don't know if they're doing it with Brown, but remember they did it with Kane, where it was the Oilers have given Kane permission to speak with other teams. And I think that's a smart organizational thing to do, is to be yeah, Corey Perry, Connor Brown, Kapanen, go get your answer now. Because the quicker you go talk to the other 31 teams and figure out what your value is, the quicker we decide if we're actually splitting or not, and then we can continue planning. So I don't mind coming to the decision right now. Connor Brown, go test free agency and keep going. Again, at the end of the day, as much as I'm sure he loves being an Oiler and I love having him as an Oiler, there comes a point where you have to draw the line. If he's going to get offered a 3 by 3.5 somewhere, it's just out of the Oilers' price range.
God bless him.
Yeah, but is he being offered a no movement clause? Because we know the Oilers are.
The other one that I'm fascinated to see how it plays out is Corey Perry.
I'm so worried about
clearly the player wants to be here. Clearly the organization loves him. But then you see something the Jamie Benn contract or the Jonathan Taves contract. And because it's a 35 plus, you can add in all those bonus metrics for games played. And you see some of those and you go, okay, Jamie Benn, $1 million. That makes sense. And then you see the games played thing and you go, that could tack on an extra $3-4 million depending what happens. And that goes onto the cap next year. Or this year if there's space.
Yeah. The good news is Jamie Benn is a better player than Corey Perry right now, obviously. Definitely. Jamie Benn had 50 points last season.
Okay.
So I think that's a big factor in it. But you see those deals and I tweeted out, I was like, you have to be somewhat worried that Corey Perry's going to be like, I won this. I scored 30 goals last season.
Silver lining for the Oilers would be if you did go that route, you have $60 million in cap space next summer. You can get a little frisky with that.
You can't offer Trent Frederic an 8-year deal and shave off that money and be like, I'm going to give Corey Perry every bonus he wants.
I agree, not every bonus, but like if he wanted...
But if Perry's truly like, it's not about the money for me, then that shit doesn't matter. Like, if you win the Stanley Cup, I think that's fine. You go and do it. But like, you can't give a guy a bonus for winning a round of hockey when it was only 1 year ago that he scored 1 goal in the playoffs and you had to healthy scratch him.
Correct. I'd give him $1 million base. I would be okay with up to $1 million in bonuses. If it gets to the Jamie Benn where it can be 3, I'm out on that.
Or like the Jonathan Taves where all of a sudden that turns into a $5-6 million thing. You go, oh, mama.
I'd rather just give him a 2-year deal and just say 1 year, both years.
Yeah.
Please retire in a second and we'll still give it to you.
Yeah. You can be a scout like Duncan Keith.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Every now and then he drives by the arena in Penticton and he goes, yep, game's on.
Still there.
Someone's playing.
All right, here's a check.
He's the guy on the Teams meeting or the Zoom meeting where at the end he goes, all good on my end. Yep. And it goes back to being muted with the camera off.
That was an interesting kind of like look at the scouting from, I think it was Daniel Nugent-Hopkins wrote it at The Athletic about Duncan Keith is an employee of the Oilers in the scouting department.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Hockey Hall of Famer.
Hockey Hall of Famer Duncan Keith. Also Hockey Hall of Famer Alex McGillney.
Yeah.
After getting shafted for years.
Finally.
I'm older than you guys. Not so much older than Dan. I'm welcoming you into the old boys club. Alex McGillney was so fucking fun to watch in his prime. Like I remember the season when he scored 76 goals with the Sabres. Like he was out of his mind. Out of his mind good. So seems like a wrong was righted a little bit. Obviously, I have no idea why he wasn't in the first place. Who knows?
Do you think Carey Price was snubbed? That was something we spoke about on Tuesday.
I mean, like, he gets in the next handful of years.
That's the thing. It's hard to be snubbed in the Hall of Fame. Like, I think someone like, people are talking about him. So like Keith Kachuk, like he's snubbed because he's been
Pat Burns got snubbed
15 years. Yeah. Like guys who have been around for,
I was just going to say you can't snub somebody, but Pat Burns was snubbed.
I feel like you can't. Absolutely was.
Because like nobody loses their eligibility in the Canadian or the Hockey Hall of Fame, right?
I don't think so.
It's not like baseball where you have a window.
The only thing I'll say is there's a bit of a oomph to being a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think like that's like a great of the great kind of thing. I think there's a conversation for Carey Price to get in first ballot over Zdeno Chara. Chara won one Norris. Price won a Vezina.
He also won the Hart.
Price won the Hart, and we know how rare that is for goalies.
He also won the Ted Lindsay that year, if I remember correctly.
Really? He won all of them? Mm-hmm. Chara had, again, the Stanley Cup, which Price didn't have, but like...
Hardest shot.
That's big.
This is going to sound dumb.
So 2014-15.
It's true.
Listen to this year by Carey Price. 2014-15. Finished with a goals against under 2, a 933 save percentage. And how many shutouts did he have? 9 shutouts. That year, he won the Hart, he won the William Jennings Trophy, he won the Vezina, and he won the Ted Lindsay.
He was also incredible in the 2014 Olympics. I believe it was that year. Like his goals against was under 1.
Like, could you imagine it would be like 933? Like that's nuts.
You want to talk about the Oilers like
snubbed.
I'm talking about the Oilers like quote unquote wasting Connor McDavid. Montreal Canadiens had a goalie who could get to a 930 save percentage and you didn't win.
Yeah.
Damn. I know they got to a final, but
they shouldn't have.
Astros,
the 1 year that they got there, like he was obviously great because he's Carey Price, but like, it was the one team that they put together in their era. It was like, oh, that one actually sucks.
Shea Weber had one leg.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Corey Perry was still 35.
And we were like, man, Corey Perry's bringing it at 35.
Yeah. Another couple of things before we move on to the betting segment. Jay Woodcroft finally finds himself a gig that is expected to be announced after his vacation pay from the Oilers wraps up on July 1st. He's going to be joining Joel Quenneville in Anaheim as an assistant coach. There goes Woody.
And next summer, he'll probably I think this is just a little like Woodcroft seems like a guy who always wants to learn, right? The more interesting coaching one is Gulletson potentially getting the Dallas job.
That was next up.
There you go.
They granted Glenn Gulletson permission to speak to the Dallas Stars.
We were saying that it might be a similar. So Gulletson was actually fired by Dallas, by the way, and Jim Nill. That has happened before.
Is he their head coach?
I believe so, yeah.
Really?
But they were saying those two finalists, it sounds like if Gulletson gets a job, the other gentleman who is a Texas Stars head coach is just going to be the assistant coach.
He was there.
It's like what Anaheim did. Woodcroft was a finalist for that job with Quenneville, so they just hired them both.
How many times has a coach ever gotten a second tour of duty with the same organization?
Mac T, when he came down to supervise Todd Nelson on the bench.
Yes. Claude Julien, maybe, Montreal.
Claude Julien, yeah.
Well, that's because their coaching pool is so small because it has to be a French guy.
I remember Julien got fired by the Habs, and the Habs were like mildly uncomfortable with Michel Therrien, but Julien got fired, and the Habs were like, there's another French guy. Get him. Don't let anyone else fucking hire him.
The other thing, the new CBA expected to be announced soon. Which is obviously nice, considering what we do. The last thing you want to think about is a lockout. Thank you.
A good threat of a lockout gets people tightened up.
Gets the juices flowing a little.
It gets people excited, Yep. A nice strike threat. Just makes
Listen, as somebody who's covered or worked for this company when there was a lockout going, not fun.
I was going to say, what'd you guys do?
Roll back.
Say it was COVID shit.
Yeah, I guess.
That's what we did.
Wait for it to end.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. So some big takeaways, 84 games. Thoughts?
I mean, I don't like it, but then I read less preseason and I was like,
yeah, they're having the preseason.
Yeah.
Which is still 4 games too long.
From 8 down to 4 and 2 regular season.
And players who have played 100 plus career games can only play in a maximum of 2 of the 4 preseason games.
The other thing is they've adjusted the max term deals. No more 8-year deals. You're lucky you got yours, Trent.
Connor McDavid could be one of the last players to ever get an 8-year contract.
I saw Frank Saravalli was saying he's still convinced it's going to be an 8-year. What else stuck out to you from the CBA? I'm trying to scroll
Dress
through.
code.
Yeah, they're taking away the dress code, which I like because I show personality. I assume the bulk of them are still going to show up in suits anyway.
I think a lot of NBA players still show up in suits.
Yeah, so I assume that's going to be, but I like the idea of somebody rolling in looking like James Harden.
Like wearing a beard and a Rockets jersey?
Yeah.
He's just dressed up.
But like giant, somebody rolls in giant fur pants and you go, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like in the NBA, like you get those iconic pictures of like the player walking in a hockey jersey, for example.
So cool.
Like that's going to happen now. Like when the Super Bowl comes around, you just know who's ever playing on Super Bowl Sunday is wearing a Detroit Lions jersey to celebrate being in the Super Bowl.
The other one that's interesting, they're going to it hasn't really been explained, but they're going to effectively close the LTIR loophole.
Yes.
I saw Minnesota Wild fans being like, oh, they can just sign Marc-Andre Fleury to do that. Like, I wonder if that's what it'll just be.
What do you mean?
Like retired goalie in the area. Or just
is the e-bug?
The e-bug thing.
We were talking about the LTIR thing.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said the e-bug thing.
No.
The LTIR thing. Florida would not have won the Stanley Cup this year if that was a rule. They were $20 million over. And I'm not saying that's the reason the Oilers lost necessarily, but like, it was just became such a massive advantage for some teams that I think it really needed to change.
The perfect example of it, and again, is the Tampa Bay Lightning winning and Nikita Kucherov going to his win conference with a $19 million over the cap t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Florida was higher this year.
I do think this could have some unintended consequences of trade deadlines will be more boring because there won't be teams who like have LTIR space to spend.
Or will they be way more aggressive because you might have the LTIR room to spend at that moment, and then when you get to the playoffs, you just have to make it work then. Like the Oilers got Frederic down so low, right? Like trades just become that.
Yeah, maybe there's like an opportunity for more double and triple retained.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, the only thing that confuses me as well is like, we obviously know there's the calculation that you can accrue cap space, right? So at the deadline, you can acquire guys that are worth $10 million, even if you only had $2.5 million in cap space to begin with at the start of the year. How does they listen, if it's popped into my brain, the smart people in hockey have definitely thought of a solution. I'm just curious to see how it all gets presented.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyway, good news is new CBA looks like it's coming. That's the most important part. No more stoppages in the game.
Yes.
When would that have even been?
I think they had one more year left.
more year?
Yeah. And next year was last year.
Cool.
Also, like no
Gary?
drama. Marty Walsh and Gary Bettman, like
No drama.
every report you heard, they were just like, we love working with each other. We loved hashing this
What was
out.
the last guy's name who was like the baseball guy?
Donald
and everybody's
Fair.
just like, oh boy, this guy's
sucked.
chaos.
Can it be like that difficult of a negotiation?
I mean, yes.
Like, I just feel like the bulk of it can't be that difficult. There must only be like a few points where it's like, we want this. Well, we want this. And that's what you have to negotiate on.
The other thing too that was in Frank's article at dailyfaceoff.com was the cap shooting up over the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're mad about Trent Frederic today, it's a lot cheaper 2 years from now in terms of percentage of cap.
The other thing too, it'll be a small thing, but like the dress code thing, like for the cap to keep going, you need to keep having money come into the game. If players can, I know it's a small detail, but show personality on that side of things, then that'll probably help with like some deals, for example, like commercial deals, whatever, I would think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Why not? I
I
like
think
the
raising
idea of,
ticket prices is better.
I think they should lower them.
they're going up no matter what.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I heard 15% for the Oilers for next year. Wahoo!
Awesome.
$266 million was generated in Edmonton's local economy during the playoff run. So congratulations to all of you for getting out there and spending some cash, going to see restaurants that you like, bars you like. Keep doing that during the summer.
Yeah, keep that energy up.
Hit a patio up, go for dinner. Come on down to Dog Patch. I recommend a mimosa flight.
Ooh.
They're lovely.
Bread bowl soup.
Red Bull soup, then you can eat the bowl. Very nice. Very, very nice. Go spend some money. Just a couple more quick things. Darnell knows rumors from last night. I do enjoy silly season rumors. It's not happening.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it. And then finally, this is local to our environment. We had a really cool story yesterday that we bamboozled Waz. If you don't know the story, if you didn't listen to Real Life yesterday, Derek Ryan, DR10, slid into Oilers Nation's Instagram DMs about 10 days ago, roughly. And he said, hey, I'd really love to give Waz a game-worn jersey that's signed. Obviously, if you know, Waz has been a huge Derek Ryan supporter over the last handful of years. He's made a couple of videos about Derek Ryan that have gone quite viral. The first one that comes to mind is when he went to the autograph signing and he didn't get to the end of the line on time before they shut it off. So he held up his Derek Ryan jersey like he's John Cusack holding the boombox up. Derek Ryan saw it, ended up signing it. Waz got that same jersey signed. So yesterday we told him he was going to do some promotional content, which is not abnormal, for a home builder. And when he showed up to the home builder's house, Derek Ryan walked out and the look on Waz's face is great. So go check that out on our socials. Kennedy captured all that one. And good guy, Derek Ryan. He's heading back to Spokane.
What a career.
He's going to be a dad.
And also like in the video Kennedy posted when you hear his wife being like, he wanted to do this for months. I'm like, man, the fact that he was like, I'm leaving Edmonton, I'm packing up my stuff. Man, I want to give back to like this one fan. That's so cool. It says a lot about DR.
Super cool. And again, his career only breaking into the NHL at 29 years old and then ultimately playing over 600 games, like
Crazy.
hell of a career.
Yeah.
Hell of a career. Shout out to Derek Ryan. Good guy, DR10. All the best back home in Spokane to be a dad. It's good to be a dad for a little bit. Let's talk about some betting because there's some fun stuff. Today's the draft. If you want to get in on betting on draft picks, you can do that. Then there's another one that I really like that we talked about yesterday on Real Life, Tyler, that the odds have shifted significantly since yesterday.
Ooh.
This segment is presented by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 years old or older. Please play responsibly. I want to talk about the bet first that we started talking about on Real Life yesterday. I don't know if you boys have seen this. It's a futures bet.
Okay.
It is an Oilers-specific futures bet. Who is the Oilers' Game 1 starting goalie?
Oh, I did see that.
So as we sit today, as we're about to record, starting goalie, the odds on favorite, Stuart Skinner at -115. Not exactly surprising.
Yep.
Any other player, Tyler, when we did this yesterday, it was +400 As we record today, it is plus 250.
What do they know?
Any other goalie? Then there's John Gibson at plus 340, Jake Allen at plus 1,000, Calvin Pickard at plus 1,400, Tristan Jarry at plus 3,300, Alex Lyon at plus 3,500. But the one I'm most interested in is any other goalie.
Yeah, that's where I would go. 400 yesterday, like you said.
We got in on it yesterday. Jay went heavy on it yesterday. Any other goalie?
He probably shifted the line.
Probably.
I still like it as a bet at plus 250. Obviously loved it at plus 400.
Did you get in on it?
No, I didn't. I forgot.
I did yesterday. Thank you. We'll see what happens, but I just think that's a fascinating futures bet. Shout out to Bet365 for being dialed in on the pulse of this city.
There's the only team.
Yep.
It's the only team.
And it's like the only non-awards bet,
Yes.
basically, or like league bet.
Yeah,
I
there's
guess.
division, there's all that.
Yeah, but like specific to a team, it's the only bet.
It's the best. It is a great bet. Again, shout out to Bet365. they were like, hey, I got an interesting idea. I'd love to have sat in that pitch. I got an interesting idea. I think we can get some bets in. And obviously the line has moved significantly since yesterday. So people are betting on it. Looking at the NHL draft, which kicks off tonight. Schaefer is expected to be locked in at plus or at first overall.
Minus 1,000 last time his line was available.
It wasn't even available when I was prepping.
It's not
this today.
available anymore. No, it's been a while.
Number 2. Again, I know nothing about this, so I'm going to need you guys to educate me on this. Minus 350 for second overall is Michael Misa.
Line has moved. It is now minus 500.
Really? I was prepping this an hour ago.
Yeah. I bet on a different guy to go second overall, and now I would lose half of my money.
I know. I did the same thing. I bet Frondell 2, Misa 3, and now I'm wondering if I should just cash it out and take the loss.
So Anton Frondell is plus 250 to go number 2. Porter Martone.
Yeah.
Plus 1,200. And then Caleb Desnoyers at plus 1,600. Number 3 overall, you got minus 300 for Michael Misa, plus 270 for Caleb Desnoyers. Denoy. James Hagan is plus.
Are you French?
He's saying it very French.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying it the very French way. James Hagan's is plus 1,800 and Porter Martone is plus 1,800 as well. Again, I'm staying away from those. I know nothing about what's going on.
James Hagan is now minus 350 to go fourth overall. But the only reason is because everyone believes the Islanders are going to trade into 4, not that Utah is going to take him at 4.
Stephen Ellis last year went 5 for 5 to kick off the draft.
Yeah,
he has Jake O'Brien going 5th overall this year. It's plus 1,200. Also, Stephen thinks we could see 3 goalies drafted in the first round. Frank says at least 2. Over 1.5 is plus 425.
Ooh. Okay.
That's down to plus
It's
300
moved.
now.
It's 300 now.
Oh, I'm happy.
But Steven just changed his rankings.
What'd he do?
You're not going to like it.
Did he take Frondell out of the 2 spot?
He most definitely did. But he put him at 5. But this is weird because I don't know if it's.
When did he do this?
He did it? He said my final rankings.
Yeah, the final rankings.
Oh, his rankings are not his mock draft.
No?
No.
Different. What's his mock draft? Oh,
His mock draft is still Frondell too.
Okay, this is interesting. Well, I was just about to go and put money on cash out and go Frondell at 4.
No.
Well, what's interesting too is like every year there's always somebody who slips. I want to know who that is. With the Oilers not having a first round pick this year, it's going to be a very long night.
Yet.
They did interview that one kid who's supposed to go 10 to 20.
Yeah, so they interviewed more than one kid who was supposed to go high in the draft. Again, I said this on O&E, but that is to basically just gather information on players. It is not to say like, oh, we're going to trade.
So that down the line, if they're ever available, you know a bit about them.
You know a bit about them. Like Matt Savoy. Like they did with Matt Savoy.
Yeah.
I'm sure they interviewed him that year too.
Oh, there you go. Are you excited about the NHL draft? Are you watching it?
I'm excited, but I'm just more invested in this than a lot of other people would be.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
There's a kid who's expected to go. Steven has him going 24th. I didn't think his name is if I'm blanking on his name now, I'd have to double check. But basically, he didn't know coming into the year.
Mason West?
Yeah, Mason West. He didn't know coming into the year that it was his draft year because he was more focused on being the quarterback of his high school football team. And then I guess about halfway through the year, about halfway through the year, he got asked to go play some USHL games.
For Fargo, yeah.
For Fargo, and he did really good. And I guess he told Steven that's when he clued in, like, oh, I'm really good at this. And now he's going to be a first round pick.
But also too, didn't Steven say he's going to play football again next year?
Yeah, he's going back to high school next year because he wants to play his final season at quarterback after being a first overall pick in the NHL draft.
He's an incredible player.
But like, I would love to be good at one sport. Imagine being so good at hockey while not giving a shit about it that you like wake up this year and you're like, oh, I can get drafted in the first round. Sick.
He's a 6'6" right shot. I thought he was a defenseman. He must be a forward. Who in Fargo, he played 10 games, had 9 points as an 18-year-old rookie.
It's like you guys, those guys who are like get drafted in the NFL and the MLB, and you're like, which one am I going to be?
Kyler Murray, first rounder in both drafts.
That's
incredible.
Awesome. The best. We need another Bo Jackson / Deion Sanders. We're like, where are these people? I want to see double league duty.
At least we have that one guy now, Travis Hunter, who wants to play both sides of the ball. That'll be exciting.
That'll be exciting. Segment was presented by Bet365, or whatever your bet. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 years old or older, and please play responsibly. Moving into Ask the Idiots, gentlemen. Prepare your caps. Prepare your thinking hats. Boys haven't seen these. I want to tell you that we got 2 shows coming up today. The Sheet, Jeff Merrick with Pierre Maguire. They're going to be covering the entire draft. That is going to be live on the Daily Face-Off YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that. We're going to get a bunch of stuff up from that show on social media. So go follow at Daily Face-Off on all socials. We're going to have some clips going up from the show. And then Tyler will be sitting in the host chair on Tuesday for the free agency show. We're going to break down all the signings over at Oilers Nation. I'll have the live blog. We got a bunch of stuff going on. So the next week, I would say, plenty of content coming from the Nation Network. So subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to the Oilers Nation YouTube, subscribe to the Daily Face-Off YouTube. Keep yourself up to date on everything that is going on. All right. 3 questions, fellas. Ask the Idiots. Start with you, Tyler. It's clear, this one comes in from Clay. It's clear that the freed up cap space in the Kane trade was the win for Edmonton. But did they get enough with only a 4th round pick, sending him to a division rival?
Not retaining and getting out of the whole contract, it was enough of a win for me. I was almost surprised it was as high as a 4th round pick, so the deal gets a big thumbs up. Clearing the money was key.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, the fact that there was just no dollars coming or staying in Edmonton, I guess, is the most important part. So I didn't really care about the return. The fact that it's what we got or what we gave them for Pud Colson is just a bonus.
Yeah, just got our pick back. Liam, what do you think?
I would agree. It was good.
Yeah, fine. I have no problem with it. I was worried that they were going to have to retain. I was actually surprised it happened this early in the offseason. It makes perfect sense with the draft and free agency, but I just kind of was like, this is going to be one of those like July things or an August thing. Yeah. But I thought it was going to happen after some teams maybe missed out in free agency on somebody. But yeah, I thought it was a tidy piece of work by Stan Bowman. Getting a 4th round pick back. I like it. Reversing the order. This one's fun. I like this one. Liam, I'm starting with you.
Okay.
You get 20 breakaway chances on an NHL goaltender of your choosing. How confident are you that you could score a goal in those 20 chances? And who's the goalie you're picking to shoot on?
I would score 0 goals in a shootout. And the goalie I would pick on, obviously, Stuart Skinner. He's just such a great goalie.
What?
I wouldn't score because I can't skate with a puck.
That's I'm that's a first hurdle that I have to get through. I've definitely skated with a stick on or puck on my stick. However, I don't really have much like finesse or moves. No. I do think that I might be able to barrel through the goalie, and with the way that the league calls goalie interference, I might get away with 1. So I'll say I'll score 1 goal on David Ayers.
Yeah, the e-bug.
All right.
Yep. Tyler, what do you got?
All those are some hockey fights.
The goalie in the NHL this year who made the least amount of saves
Yep.
was Tristan Lennox of the Islanders, who faced 2 shots on the year and gave up 1 goal.
Okay.
I would still not score on him.
20 shots, breakaway. So my approach here is 20 straight Gaetan Haas's clapper from the hash marks. The thing with my slap shot is you don't know where it's going because neither do I. I don't know if he counts as an NHL goaltender, but I'm shooting on Jack Campbell.
Yeah, he does.
Free agent.
Yes, and I'm scoring once.
Technically.
And you know how you're scoring? He's going to save it. It's going to go up, come back, him on the back and go in.
Yep.
Remember that happened?
Again.
Classic.
No, but or I'm shooting at that glove. It's going right through.
I'm picking Lico. I'll just shoot over the shoulders.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Final question, Dan. I'm going to start with you.
Mm-hmm.
This is an easy one. This one comes in from Kevin. What is your boldest Oilers take about something that will happen with this team over the next week? So we got the draft and we got free agency.
The boldest Oilers take. The Oilers will hire an assistant coach that we didn't expect. Is that bold?
Who are you expecting?
Well, I'm not expecting anybody.
Okay.
But I'm expecting that it'll be like some kind of head coach or former head coach that wasn't really playing
Fernando
for.
Pisani.
Could be.
He
There was something in the air that night. Liam, what do you got? What is a bold take over the next week that will happen with the Oilers?
They get Bessa. That's my bold take.
Wow.
They'll go get Brock Bessa.
Oh, could you imagine?
It would be amazing. Like people, and I understand,
Bessa.
like we kind of just went through this with Skinner, being like, oh, well, is he a good enough skater? It's like, well, this guy's 28. And yes.
He had 40 goals 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That is a bold take. I like it.
I love it. 25 goals last season.
I like it. Tyler, bold take.
This is bold in the wrong direction. They're not going to get a goalie
This week.
I think they're not going to.
I don't think that's that bold, to be honest.
No, would you say it's more likely than not that they don't get a goalie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that they're going to try and find their like forward situation and sort that out. See where they're at cap wise, Bouchard extension, all that stuff. And then they're going to be like, okay, this team didn't sign a goalie. This team's got an extra one. Like, that's what I think.
Then I'll say one of Henrique or Kulak get moved.
See, now we're cooking. Bless you, Dan.
Bless you, Dan.
I'm going to say that it's not going to happen this week, but the Oilers are going to fleece the Buffalo Sabres for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
Mostly because I like to say his name.
Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen.
I said this on the other show, and I'll say it on this show just to spread the word. An 8-minute montage of a goalie making good saves is something you can do with every goalie in the NHL.
Nope.
Except for Tristan Lennox.
Yes.
Jack
except
Campbell?
Tristan Lennox. Like, I could probably put together a 5-minute compilation of wild saves Calvin Picken made this season.
Totally.
Easily.
Because he is just a road hockey goalie.
Absolutely.
I just saw that video last night, but how could anyone with half a brain not want this guy? It's like, why? Because he made a few toe saves because he was out of position.
What is
Skinner does the same thing.
What was your first take on the Peterka trade?
I think Buffalo is being harshly done by. I think they could have got a little bit more, but people are acting like they got nothing. Like those guys are going to help them win some games this year. And then Peterka was, I don't know. He's Peterka. He's a good player. They lost the best player in trade.
All of a sudden, Utah's stacking up some quality pieces.
Can you imagine if they got Barzal? Woo.
Why is he rumored to go?
Fourth overall.
Yeah.
They already did flip Noah Dobson today, the Montreal Canadiens, with an extension.
And Sorokin to the Oilers, I heard from Greg.
There's a bold take.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would be something. I quite like him.
Yes. Because somebody, like, I know he has a full no move, but if you're Sorokin and you're sat there being like, wow, they just traded Dobson, they might trade Barzal, whatever, like, he would wave. Like, why would he not? You know what I mean?
He's just going to get shelled every night with no chance of winning.
Well, this would be exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what Adam Boquist does in front of me tonight.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Assy, it's sliding into my DMs. I ask the boys the question. I get their first take. They don't see them before I ask. So slide on in. We're getting into off season, so get weird. Get weird. Again, as a reminder, is it next week we go down to 1?
Yeah, because it's free agencies on
the free agency show will be.
We're not going to do one on Tuesday. Even a quick one.
What time are we? What time's my free agent show at?
3.
You should know this.
Oh, it goes till 3.
Then we have to do O&E.
Then we do O&E. We could do an O&E edition or an O&R edition of O&E. Mash it together.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
We'll talk about it. All right. Let's wrap up the podcast with hot and cold performers. I want to tell you about one of my favorite days of the summer, the Oilersnation Open. We are back out in Mill Woods. This is coming up on Friday, August 29th, which is the Friday leading into the long weekend. That is the ultimate green light for shenanigans, my friends. Come on out. The course is beautiful. The teams are there. We're going to have some options to bid, to play with the boys as we do to raise some more money for the Jason Gregor Foundation. 1, you're going to have a great day. 2, you got to watch Jason Gregor cry. 3, we're going to raise some money for charity and have a great time while we're at it. And we're also talking about doing a post-tourney event this year as well, so that we can all wrap it up together.
That'll be fun.
Go on over to nationgear.ca. You can sign up for a team of 4, or you can sign up as a Mosaic player, though I've been told that the Mosaic spots are running out very quickly.
Nation Gear already says there's only 5 left.
Like, it's amazing to me how the Mosaic slots in the tournament have just become an entire thing on their own.
Yeah. So cool.
Super, super cool. If you don't know what it is, essentially, if you want to golf as a single, we match you up as a group of 4. And a lot of times you probably just have the best time with 3 new friends you didn't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There you go. Nationgear.ca. Starting off with our veggies as we always do. Tyler, you're up first, right beside me. Cold form of the week.
Edmonton Elks are 0-2. I thought their defense was supposed to be good this year. They gave up 36 to the Bombers. There's your CFL update. Elks cold.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
You got to wait for Stephen A. Dad.
Yeah,
Slight correction for you. They're actually 0-3 now.
Elks are 0-3. Hey, 70-1 to win the Grey Cup now.
Yeah, probably a fair price.
So you're saying my Grey Cup bet with Rick is not looking great to start.
I'm saying you should double down.
Just bet on Frondell to go second. It'll be the same outcome.
All right.
You won't win.
Dan, what do you got? Cold form of the week.
My cold performer of the week is going to go to a baseball Chicago White Sox fan that chirped Kettle Marte for his for his mom. Now, I know that the comments have since come out. It was about his mom and it was about texting her afterwards. And even if the fan didn't know that, just keep your chirping about the stuff on the field. You don't need to go into people's personal lives and talk about people that aren't there. So enough is enough. The guy that chirped Kettle Marte gets my cold performer of the week.
What the hell is going on?
Liam, you're up. Cold form of the week.
I got ding dong ditch last Sunday. And I'm prepared for them to come back again this weekend.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to line up some chicken wire.
Liam, you can't hurt kids.
They're old enough. And they'll feel the wrath. And I'll be getting them. I've got my ghillie suit ready. I'll be laying on my grass.
When you need time off for a court case, I'm not granting it.
Not my fault. They're on my property.
Fair.
Stand your
But you
ground.
just admitted to trying to trap them.
I'm not trapping them.
Yeah, Liam told me he was going to do one of those things from the Vietnam War where he digs a hole in his yard and puts spiky things under leaves.
I'm really excited to be a witness with you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you wouldn't have said this on the pod now.
Yep.
No.
The ghillie suit is a wild statement to make.
I'll be on the grass.
Try and find him, though. My cold performer of the week is the city of Toronto. That place sucks. And let me tell you why. They were having a heat wave this week. I was in Toronto for a couple of days with Jay. We were doing some meetings with one of our teammates, one of our sister properties from Quebec, and we met in Toronto. Heat wave with the humidity. The temperature was about 42 degrees the days that I was there. Too hot. Twice. Once each day I was there, the power went out on the entire block I was on. We were sitting in a full day planning session on Monday, and I just looked across the table and I go, boys, I'm going full Pooh Bear unless this AC turns on at some point. We had a good laugh about it, but it was very sweaty. The same thing happened the next day as me and Jay are getting ready to go to the airport. We had to walk up 12 flights of stairs, which is fine. We're the stair boys. We've prepared our entire lives for this moment. But let me tell you, I wanted to have a shower before I went to the airport.
Ooh.
The water didn't work.
No, gross. So you were sweaty on the plane?
Yep.
Well, that's
Sweaty on the plane.
But didn't you tell me you had no one next to you?
That is true.
Decent.
Jay and I also had a plan that neither of us were showering, obviously, because there was no water. We were both sitting exit rows, one in front of the other. We were just going to ask the people beside us if they wanted to swap so that we could just be gross together and they didn't have to deal with it. Thankfully, neither of us had somebody beside us. But the city of Toronto, not a great city. Mostly a world-class city for people who have never been to a real world-class city.
Oh, that's cold.
Thank you. Reversing the order, let's finish off with some positives. Liam, you're up first. Hot performer of the week for the Oilers Nation Open.
This is a good one. So if you live in Sherwood Park or have gone to Sherwood Park actually it doesn't even matter if it's a nice day. It just happens a lot. At the intersection on Baseline, and I think it's Shore Drive by the Staples there's this kid with his longboard, and he just stands there and dances. Rain or shine, this kid is dancing. And his name's Caden. The reason he does it is just to spread like happiness.
Sure.
And it's a cool thing to do. So the Strathcona County Police bought him a hockey jersey, an Oilers jersey to wear when he's dancing and to like cheer on the Oilers. And he does this just to like spread some joy. So I think that was really cool for the police officer to go and do that, but also for Caden to trying to spread a bit of happiness here and now.
It's getting hot in here.
I actually know the officer. He's a friend of the nation, Constable Corey Kanicki.
There you go.
Shout
I didn't
out
want to say his
to,
name because I knew I couldn't.
Yeah, but he's a friend of the nation.
Like
Big
you knew
fan.
you physically couldn't.
Yeah, like I see
I
it
know what
here.
you're saying.
It
I was like,
clearly
I-
says Constable Krenecki. But
Close.
It wasn't going to. There you go.
You'll see him at the golf tournament soon.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
Great guy. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, spread a little
Yeah,
positivity.
it's
Nice.
really cool. Literally, rain or shine, that kid is out there.
How are
Awesome.
moves? How's his moves?
Unbelievable.
Excellent.
He's not afraid, and he always does it with a smile on his face, which is great.
Get after it, people. Go do some dancing. Dan, you're up next. Hot performer of the week.
Mine's going to go out to the Calgary Stampeders. Far be it from me to give Calgary an award if I don't have to, but they announced this past week that they're going to be doing something that I think is really cool called the Stampede Bowl, where they're going to put on a mid-season tournament, which we can make fun of them for that, but they're going to have a game every year when the Calgary Stampede is in town, showcasing CFL and putting it out there with the greatest outdoor show on earth going on. Why not have the CFL be a part of that? So I'm going to give my flowers to the Calgary Stampeders for their mid-season tournament.
Pour it on!
Also, I saw something online that they are selling booze on the Stampede this year, starting at 6 a.m.
Good.
Hell yeah.
Why not watch a little football after several hour session?
Sunrise.
Great day. It's a great day. Tyler, you're up. Hot performer of the week.
Our friend Eric Sabrowski's back in the majors. He got reinstated from the 60-day IL about an hour and a half ago. So shout out to our boy Eric, one of 5 Edmontonians to ever pitch in the majors. In his regular season career, he has never given up a run as a relief pitcher, and he's back with the Guardians. So shout out to Eric.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling hot, hot, hot.
He was hurt, by the way, but he's healthy now.
We still got to get our Sabrowski jerseys.
I know I have a Guardians jersey. I just haven't gotten stitched yet.
Yeah, I want to get a Guardians jersey. I want to get a Sabrowski jersey, and I want to get him to sign it and frame it and put it up in my office.
Put it up in the office. Yeah. Right next to the Dubnyk stick.
That is cool.
Yeah,
we
that
do
is
have a
great.
signed Devin Dubnyk stick. I mean, we couldn't find a Bauer stick, but away she goes.
You'd be amazed. I bought that stick. Limited options for goalie sticks.
How much does a goalie stick run these days?
That was $75. I went to Sport Check. They literally did not have a goalie stick. Isn't that crazy? I asked. They're like, we don't sell them. How do you not sell them?
Sport Check, big anti-goalie.
Yep.
Yeah, no wonder we can't pick.
No wonder we don't have any Canadian goalies coming through. We can't even get a stick.
Can't get the stick.
Come on.
They're all play with player sticks.
Hot performer of the week again for me goes to Derek Ryan for the gesture with Waz. That is just one of those things that he didn't have to do. Didn't have to do it at all, but he put some thought into it clearly. And as you hear in the clip, his wife said he's been thinking about it for a while. I just think that's a super cool gesture. That was something he didn't have to do, but felt like it was important for the support that Waz gave him over the last handful of years. So Derek Ryan, you get my hot performer of the week.
This is why I'm hot. I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not.
There you have it. Friday episode of Oilers Nation Radio. We will discuss amongst ourselves what's going to happen on Tuesday. But in the interim, The Sheet, the draft show, is coming up this evening. Free agency show with Tyler on the desk is coming up on Tuesday. Go subscribe to the appropriate YouTube channels. Pay attention, follow along with everything going on at the draft and free agency. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.